Now, welcome everyone. I'd like to introduce myself. I am Dan Candido with Interfacing Technologies, and I'll be your moderator. First, let me thank you for taking the time to attend today's webinar. Before we begin, let's look at a couple items. Your questions will help our Q&A later in the webinar. Look for the questions module on the right side of your screen to submit any queries you may have. Immediately following the webinar, you'll receive a survey. Please take a minute out to complete the survey, as it helps both of us to present topics you wish to see featured. So just in case you missed something today, after the webinar, we'll be sending you a copy of today's slide deck with a link to the webinar and our contact information for you to share with colleagues. Let's start with a quick look at interfacing. And before we do that, we'll look at today. So we will be discussing a little bit about interfacing. After that, our featured speaker will be discussing going paperless and document-free in quality management. After that will be a live demo featuring our own Mirko Thomas. And finally, after our live demo is complete, we'll open up the floor to any questions you have in our Q&A. So right now would be a good time to give you a brief background on interfacing. Interfacing has been a market leader for over 30 years. We now reach more than 1 million users globally, offer 24/7 support. Interfacing is deployed in well over 50 plus countries across most verticals and industries. And interfacing is ISO 27001 certified and GDPR compliant. Interfacing has been recognized consistently year on year for their leadership as a digital twin provider, a leader in eBPA solutions covering a variety of use cases, including IMS, QMS, BCM, low-code automation, business and enterprise architecture analysis, as well as business operating systems and operational intelligence. Interfacing accomplishes all of this within our digital integrated management system, providing solutions for quality management systems, business process management, document records management, business continuity management, low-code automation, and as an integral part of GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. Our featured speaker today is Tonio Di Domenico, Senior Sales Manager with our consulting partner Adfor, a leading independent business consulting company located in beautiful Milan, Italy. Tonio brings us decades of experience as a representative of Adfor and a former process and equipment engineer at both Texas Instruments and Micron Technology. Welcome, Tonio. The screen is now yours. And perhaps the mute button is on. I think we still have you muted, Tonio.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There we go. Much better.
Yeah, it was not working, but apparently now it's green, and you should hear my voice, I guess.
Definitely. Thank you.
Okay. So thanks for the introduction, Dan. I'm very pleased and honored to be invited here today and have the opportunity to speak at this interfacing webinar. And I'm going to make a brief introduction about quality management, but not in a theoretical manner. As a subject matter expert, I wouldn't be qualified for that. Rather, I'll tell you about the experience and the bottom-up point of view of a former process and equipment engineer in such role, together with all the people working in a so-called wafer fab. I was part of one of the most advanced, complicated, and stringent manufacturing environments, such as the fabrication of microelectronic devices in the semiconductor industry. Next slide, please, Dan. Yeah, as many of you may not be familiar with such industrial sector, Let me show you just 4 simple pictures just to set the scene. What you see here is the actual production environment, so the actual factory floor that is called the clean room. All the people working in this area, the engineers, the manufacturing operators, the equipment technicians, they have to wear clean room smocks, plastic gloves and goggles to protect the finished products from the human contamination. A clean room, in fact, is a particle-free environment ensured by a continuous top-down HEPA-filtered airflow. Next, please, then. Then we have the gas and chemical facility. The actual fabrication of microchips is obtained from the cyclic deposition and removal of several layers of conductive and dielectric materials, and some of them are quite exotic, like tungsten silicide, titanium nitride, doped polycrystalline silicon. Such materials are obtained from a wide range of chemicals that are distributed by a gas and chemical facility, which is placed under the floor of the clean room. So imagine this stacked layer with the production environment on the first floor, and in the basement you have the distribution of gas and chemical facility. And some nasty chemicals and gases are also used for the periodical cleaning of some production equipment. Then next, we have an example of the advanced and complex production equipment. The typical production line of a semiconductor wafer fab is made of different type of equipment where the silicon wafers, so the silicon wafer is the actual substrate of the microchips, undergo specific process steps: thermal treatment, wet and dry cleaning, layer deposition, photolithography, etching, particle defect inspection. And this is an example of one of the various complex, advanced, and believe me, extremely expensive equipment used for a specific process step of the production process. Again, please note the maintenance technician in the picture wearing smock, gloves, and goggles, because also the actual reaction chambers have to be protected from the human contamination. And finally, then please, the next picture, we have the finished product. Well, actually, I should say the semi-finished product. I'll come to that in a minute. What you see in the picture is a 300 millimeter silicon wafer, the actual substrate of hundreds microchips that you can see on the surface. After the final testing, the chips are singulated in order to be encapsulated or packaged, if you wish, for the installation of the final device like PCs, smartphone, TV sets, cars, and all those stuff. So if there is an industrial sector where the quality management is really taken to the limit and where a total quality culture is essential for its very survival, this sector is the semiconductors. But why is that? I mean, you may say and claim that a sound and effective implementation of the principles of the quality management is fundamental in any manufacturing industries. And this is absolutely right. Just like any other manufacturing industries, also in semiconductor business, the quality management is fundamental to ensure that finished products are in line with the expected functional specification driven by the market, by the customers, by the regulators, and ensure the conformance to the forecasted production volumes and cost, which implies the reductions of scraps, the minimization of equipment downs, the optimization of the equipment maintenance to improve the process stability and reliability. So, next slide then, please. So, why the quality management in the semiconductor industry is so challenging? Well, unlike other manufacturing industries, the fabrication of semiconductor devices has its own specific quality challenges, which can be summarized and simplified in a couple of concepts. The finished product, so the chip, the device, is practically invisible. There are no or limited inline inspection to separate the good from the bad? Well, the microchips are tested at the end of the production line. Every single chip is tested. Every single chip that is not working in line with the designed electrical parameters is scrapped. But we cannot rely on that and wait for the final testing to confirm the entire production process is under control. It takes hundreds of process steps to make a complex micro device like a dynamic RAM or a flash memory or a CPU, resulting in a total production lead time of several weeks. So several weeks to make a chip. A typical semiconductor factory works 24 hours a day, 360 approximately days a year. So production volumes are huge. So figure out what would happen if a single process step had a severe problem and it went unnoticed. A huge production volume scrap. Therefore, the only way to achieve a good final product, a quality product, is to ensure that the quality of each single process step and ensure a tight control of the overall production environment. Man, materials, machine, methods. So all these is brought to an obsessive level of care with an extreme attention to standardization and control. But what does it mean in practice? Well, let me give you a few examples based on my experience. Next item then, please. So everything is subject to specifications and SOPs. From raw materials, so the gas and chemicals we saw before, to the production equipment, the configuration, the production performances. For example, when a new equipment is purchased, there are a number of specific conditions that should be met in terms of process capability, performance indicators. At times, customer source inspection had to be performed to detect any possible equipment issue before the shipment. And I did customer source inspection at the vendor facilities to check my actual equipments before they were shipped into the wafer fab. But other examples, from access and behavior in the clean room to prevent contamination to the SOPs for the factory floor. I mean, we are talking about SOPs to manage the actual production, so procedure for what is and what is not allowed to wear or to carry when you access the clean room, when and how equipment should be serviced for a preventive maintenance, which consumable part should be replaced, which parts should be cleaned and how many times an equipment should be tested in a day and by who, to ensure it works in line with the specification, which measures have to be collected and which are the inspect values, what safety protocols have to be followed under a given circumstances. So, as you can see, SOPs are for people working on every aspect of the manufacturing process. It is crucial that SOPs are always available and up to date. Why available and up to date? Well, next item then, please. Because we have to monitor and track anomalies in real time. I said before, each single process step is under a tight control, actually a tight statistical process control, SPC, for those of you who knows the matter. Remember, we cannot control the product in line, and we cannot wait until the very finish, the very final testing at the end of the production line. So we have to control the process. When a drift in the SPC chart happens, for instance, according to the WECO rules, the associated equipment goes automatically in a down state, preventing the further production, production processing. But production lots that have been already processed under such unstable process condition, because they may have been potentially impacted, they are put on hold for further engineering evaluation. So you see how important it is to have real-time monitoring and available standard operative procedures. And last but not least, then, please, the next one, the continuous improvement and process change management. I mean, nothing is more far from a static and repeating itself thing than the fabrication of microchips. Processes are continuously optimized, and equipment uptimes are continuously increased without jeopardizing quality, of course. Often, such changes have an endogenous reasons, like the responses to weak or marginal processes that require new process specification or new equipment maintenance procedures. Sometimes changes are exogenous, like a new product specification required by a customer. So regardless its nature, any change must be approved by quality after the positive assessment of the required engineering work, like design of experiments, special work requests, and stuff like that. If the change affects SOPs and process specifications like process targets, upper and lower control limits, then they have to be immediately and completely updated and made available to all interested parties. So in conclusion, the semiconductor manufacturing environment, in such environment, this requires that every individual has to know exactly what to do, when, and how. Therefore, procedures have to be always available and up to date. Roles and responsibility cannot have gray areas, and quality is based on a timely available data and information. And that's my part for the introduction for today, guys.
That's really interesting, Tonio, to learn about that. Mike, so what you say basically is that already back in the 90s and early 2000s, the industry that you have been working in has been going for a fully digital approach with SOPs and other quality related documents. Could you tell the audience, please, how this information, how the SOPs, for example, how have they been pushed or provided to the engineers, to the shop floor workers, and so on?
Yeah, that's an interesting point, Mirko, because of course back in late 90s, early 2000, there were no portable devices like today. Therefore, the whole clean room, the whole factory floor was provided with a number of PCs and workstation nearby every single equipment, at times even behind the equipment for maintenance people, for maintenance technician. So a manufacturing operator who needs to check a manufacturing standard operative procedures, or a technician who has to check a procedure to maintain an equipment, they were able to access a centralized system where the SOPs were available in electronic format. Of course, it was the time of mainframes and IBM stuff, so the quality, you know, of the document, let's say, of the electronic document was not as good as today, but the concept was already there. Yeah, exactly. Not as handy as a mobile, probably as a mobile device today, but absolutely. I mean, I forgot to say, paper is the standard paper is not allowed in clean room. That you have to use specific, very expensive, so-called lint-free paper. Therefore, it was really unpractical, you know, to bring in the clean room printed paper to have your references for procedures. So procedures have to be available in the clean room where you are, where and when you need it.
That's absolutely amazing to hear. So really, like 25 years ago, you were already in this industry. Everything was already available, fully digital and paperless. So what is really amazing, and that's the topic of the webinar today, what is really amazing is that even today, now we are in 2022, most companies are still working based on paper and on documents. So let's say the technology has been around all the time, but it's not being used. And what I would like to show you today in the live demo is how the interfacing solutions make it easy for you and support for you a transformation project to go fully digital. By the way, let me introduce myself. My name is Mirko Thomas. I'm the Managing Director for Interfacing in Europe. And yeah, I will be doing the live demo for you today. And if you have any questions about it or want to know more, again, we have here a question section where you can post your questions. Okay, so just starting to share my screen. Go. Right. So most of you, I guess most of you are familiar with what we see here. It's our EPC, our Enterprise Process Center, our flagship product. And as most of you might know, it consists of, it has a modular approach. So we have, when I open the main menu here, we have different modules, which then carry, which then all are part of a central repository. So it means one central repository with digital objects, what we call digital objects, and these objects are categorized in several ways, like processes, process objects, documents, performance objects like KPIs, organization, risk, and so on. I'm mentioning this because what I will show you now is how easy it is to import a paper-based or document-based SOP into the system, into the repository. That's number one, and number two, and that is it's a new feature of our what we call content mining solution, our parser. And that's a real killer application. Well, hold on for a couple of minutes. I will show it then next. But let's first look at how easy it is to import an SOP.
Hey,
And
Mirko,
that is
Mirko, just
yes.
want to just quickly interrupt you. We can't see your screen.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. The system says that I'm sharing. Oh, that's great.
It does.
So let me see. What about now?
Now we can see your screen.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for stopping me.
So you may have to go back a couple sentences though, just to get us caught up now that we can see it. Thanks.
Okay. All right. So as already mentioned, EPC is a repository of digital objects. These digital objects are, let's call it, categorized into several types of objects or categories of objects, like process objects, documents, performance, roles, responsibilities, risk, and so on. And what we do now, and that is also the typical content of an SOP, right? So an SOP consists of exactly these type, or call it this type of information. So let's let me let me just give you I'm just loading an SOP. Okay, so we have this SOP here. We will take a look at it in a moment. So I create a new template. I will explain the template concept to you later. Okay, here we go. So here is a typical SOP. And when you look at it, so what type of information does it involve? It's like it's a sub-process in this case, which is called audit preparation. Then there is the responsible role. There is a description of the sub-process and so on. And what I do now is I will train the parser, I will train the system to on these elements. I only have to do that once. So I train the system once, and that's the template concept. Then later I could save this template, and when another SOP with the same layout is supposed to be parsed, the system will be able to fully automatically parse the whole document. Okay, let's get started. So And it's really simple and straightforward. So this is a process set called quality audit. Then we have a process. We have a process name. We have the responsibility. Notice that I can, according to the so-called RACI matrix, I can assign different types of responsibility. So responsible, accountable, supported, and so on. You might have seen that before. So in this case, I say responsible. Then here, let's say that this would be the process goal. Then we have the description of the process. Okay, and then below the process, there is a task, in this case, monitoring action implementation, action plan implementation. So this is a task. Oh, what am I doing here? And it's the task name, and then so this is again the responsibility. And one last thing, so this is the task procedure. So I say here that this is the procedure. Okay, now I have trained the system with these little few tags here, which had the system. And because this is a quite structured document, a quite well-structured document, so that is already good enough for the system to be trained. What I do now, notice, I will click now on parse. Takes a second. And what you see now is that the parser has just a moment, getting, okay. Is my screen still visible, Dan?
Yes, we can actually see your screen.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so the SOP has been parsed now, the whole SOP. The whole, no, there seems to be something missing, and that is a definition section. I haven't trained the system yet on how to handle these, on how to fragment them. So what I do is I say that this table is a table in this case. So we can also do tables, we can do pictures and so on. So not necessarily only text. And then I say here, so this is we call it glossary. So this is the name of the term. And this is the description of the term. And now same again, I have trained the system. Let me click on parse. And the system has automatically tagged the rest for me. Okay, so that was it really for this. So how long did that take? Like less than 5 minutes to tag that SOP, to parse it. And what I will do now is I will export it into this EPC environment. So if you notice, there are 6 sets here. And when I do the export, it takes only a few seconds. Here we go, successfully exported. Now reloading the page. And here we go. You see there is now a new set called quality audit. And below that, there are all the processes, the sub-processes. So let's change to graph. Change to graph first. Okay, and what you see here is that everything has been imported, including the roles, the work instructions, what we call the procedures, and so on. So that was really, it's that easy to parse and digitize an SOP. There is way more, let's say there are way more functionalities available, which we don't have the time today to address them all. But if you're interested, we would be more than happy to do an individual demo for you where we go way more into detail. Just to give you a glimpse of what I'm talking about, So I've mentioned already, I can save this as a template, and then next time with another similar SOP, the system would be able to tag it fully automatically. Second is the system, again, the system is self-learning. I'm training it and it is self-learning. So what I mean is, for example, here we have several roles mentioned in this document, like lead auditor or audit head or audit planner. And the system remembers all these roles. The system knows that these are roles in your organization. So what I can do is that I can auto tag. So I don't even have to train the system anymore. I can just say, dear system, dear parser, please try to identify all the roles that are mentioned in this SOP document and automatically tag it for me. What I will do, so just to give you an idea how that would look like, I'm just loading the same document again. Okay. Okay, so I'm making this quick now. What you probably have noticed is that the system cannot not only auto tag roles and responsibilities, but also assets, rules, regulations, policies, glossaries, processes, procedures. So it's really, really elaborated and can help you to import and digitize SOPs in no time. So let's try it with the roles. And what you see here already is that the system, without me having to do anything, the system automatically identifies all the mentioned roles in the document, and will import them if they don't exist yet in EPC. Let me show you. By the way, why not? Let me show you this. So here we go. These are the roles that had been imported as part of my parsing. And let's say if the role would not yet exist, the system would automatically add it here. Okay, now we are getting to a quite new feature in the parser, which is what I think at least is really powerful, and it could be for your efforts to digitize, to go fully digital and document free. This could be a really powerful tool for you to help you in that matter. So what I do now is I upload another Word document. And again, I'm calling it webinar again. Okay. So here, what we have here is not an SOP. It is, let's call it a charter document, or you could call it a questionnaire, whatever you prefer. So this is a simple Word document that you can design. So we have this is an example, a demo document, so you can really design one of your own. What is really important is that you understand the concept behind it. So the idea is that you create such a document like a process activity charter. And if you look at the questions here, then it's clear what it's about. So name of a process, who is responsible, what is the goal, describe an overview of the process. And you could also create something completely different with different questions, with a different structure, but it doesn't really matter because the result will be the same. So what you can do here is, let's say, if in your organization, let's say the process documentation is really unstructured. It's like, some is Visio, some is Word, some is Excel. It's all over the place and whatnot all, and it's so it's completely unstructured. Then, basically you would have two ways to go forward. You could either deal with all these unstructured documents and try to digitize them and to improve them. Or what you can do is you send out a simple questionnaire, a simple process charter like this, to your organization, and let's be honest. So this can be answered by almost anyone. So it's really simple, and you could do it like you can send out 10 or 10,000 of them, because what I will show you now is that once if you train the system once with this document, the rest of it can be passed and imported into EPC fully automatically. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So here, this is a table. So I'm gonna tell the system that we have row setters here, and then name of the process. So we are talking about obviously. Oops, we are talking about the name of a process, then the responsibility. No, organization. Responsible. What is the goal of the process? And the description of the process. Okay. And then we have a second table here, which is basically a run through the process, so a step-by-step explanation. And once again, you are totally free in how you would design this questionnaire or this process charter. So that first, as same as before, first I'm gonna tell the system that we have column setters here. Then here we have sequence numbers in the system. Okay, so that is for the process. We have a sequence number. Then we have the task name. Then we have the role name. Okay, then we have also assets here. So what asset is being used to execute the task? And by the way, when I open this up, I don't go into details here now, but you see how elaborate the options here are. So you can, let's say, you could pass here almost anything, even let's say advanced stuff like master data or in terms of capability management and so on. But we don't have the time right now to go into detail. So final step here is for the task. We have the procedure. Okay, so I have trained the system. I parse, and again, the full table is now parsed, so I can export this now. And that's basically the same as you have seen before. Okay, so let me go back to the process module. And here we have the process set import, and this is the imported from the charter. This is the imported process with all the roles, with the assets, with the work instruction, with the work instruction, and so on. Yeah, and again, for me, in my personal opinion, this is really a killer application because it allows you, and the system is now fully trained. So it means if you receive like 10,000 other responses for this charter, you just have to click on pass, and then it will fully automatically be passed. You don't have to do anything else there. So I think that's a really powerful tool to kind of to map or to define processes and digitize them. And by the way, I've mentioned this before. So this was an example for process charter. We could do exactly the same with any of our other types of objects. So we could make a risk charter, for example, from this, or we could make a KPI charter, like how to define KPIs, and so on and so on. And what I do now is the final thing that I show you here. We are a little bit tight on time. Is I've mentioned it. We have the concept of templates here. So what I mean is now I'm loading the same file again. And now I have here. You see there is already a template saved, which is called process charter. So the system has been trained on this before, and That didn't work. Okay, fantastic. Typical demos. Oh, here it worked. So you see the table is already pre-populated or pre-passed. Here it didn't. So let me try again. Just bear with me for a moment. Okay, let me see. Probably it's this one from my colleague Tony. No, that isn't either. Okay, you see here it's not, so here it has not been passed yet, but you have seen it before, so I don't want to waste our time here. So that's the way how it works. So I should have saved my past document and then saved it as a template, then it would have perfectly worked. Okay, so that is again, so I'm repeating myself, that's a really cool killer application, so which allows you to digitize information in no time. The last one that I'm going to show you today, making this quick now, and it will be would only take 2 minutes. That is, we have so many more tools and features to support your efforts to go fully digital and paper free and document free. One more that I would like to show you is that many of you have been using Visio to map processes. And what I do here is I have selected one, and just come on. So nah. Okay, and I have also, so I'm defining now where should the system import the information to. And what is also a really important feature is, as you know, Visio has different stencils that they are using. So let's say maps can have a different look in Visio. And that's why the system gives the opportunity or provides the opportunity to map the Visio shapes with our own flow objects. I don't touch it right now. Let's keep it as it is. And let's start it. It will take like 30 seconds. In the meantime, I would like to show you just a moment, the document. Okay, here we go. I would like to show you, because even for this demo, I have not chosen like a super simple or trivial example for Visio file, but this is already quite elaborated with several swim lanes, and also with a sub process. So it's really already a quite complex Visio file, also with gateways. And let's see what the result is. I'm just double checking that I'm sharing the right screen again. Here we go. Okay. Here it is, manage proposal. And what you see is the import worked perfectly well with all the roles, with everything, all the gateways, also with the sub process, and so on. So that's yet another tool. We have so many more options available to help you to go fully digital and paper free. So just ask us. And with that comment, back to you, Dan.
Thank you, Mirko. I'm going to switch it over to my screen here and then just confirm that you can see it.
Yes.
Excellent. It's been a unique GoToWebinar day. Thank you, Mirko, for the live demonstration. How about we invite Tonio back we've got a few minutes to answer a couple of questions that were submitted. I know that everyone's had quite a bit of information today, and let's see if we can start right now with question number 1. You've been showing the parsing of a process and of roles. What about risks or controls?
Yeah, so I've only been mentioning this on the audio, but absolutely it works exactly in the same way. So it means in the SOP document that I've been demoing did only contain process-related information and roles, but it could, in the same way, it could have also included risks, controls, KPIs, documents, whatever. So there is all the types of objects that EPC supports can be imported via the parser.
Okay, I think this might be a Tonio one. Tonio has been talking about computer workstations where you would retrieve SOP information from. In today's context of mobile devices, what are the options?
Well, Mirko can also confirm that, but the platform, the APC platform that is the basis for the quality management system is absolutely compatible with all the new mobile devices. So it would be much more handy today than it was 20 years ago to bring to bring with you your procedures, your process design, your process requirements in any working environment, in a much more handy way than it was with the fixed workstation close to the equipments. And now you can bring it with you on your smartphone, on your iPad and tablet. So absolutely, it's truly a paperless solution.
Excellent, thank you.
What I can add, then
yeah,
allow
sure,
me.
go ahead.
What I can add to that is that we now even offer an offline app. So it means we have an app for iOS and Android devices that allow you to work fully offline. So depending on your work environment, where you might, for example, for salespeople in the field, or for places, for example, we have that in the aviation industry, where there is no inside of the airline body for mechanics, there is no Wi-Fi or no network connection available. So that are use cases for an offline app, and we are supporting working off both mobile and offline. We are now fully supporting that as well.
Excellent, thank you. I believe mining would be a good example as well, because deep down underground, completely
Constructions.
offline. Yes. Let's see, we have one last question here. Our processes are subject to external regulations. How can we make sure that our processes and SOPs are timely and completely aligned to updated regulations?
Well, that was, I guess that refers to what Tonio was mentioning, that how important it is in the semiconductor industry but obviously in most other industries, to be able to quickly push regulatory changes into your SOPs, into your digital repository, into your documented processes. We have an automated process that helps our clients to do that, from receiving a regulatory change all the way through, excuse me, all the way to do an impact assessment, probably doing a triage, raising an improvement requests, implementing the change, triggering training related to this change, and so on. So we have really an end-to-end workflow that supports this.
Well, thank you, Mirko. I do see, though, that we're running a little short on time, so we are going to end it here. Once again, I want to thank Tonio Di Domenico for his insightful presentation today on going paperless and document-free in quality management. I'd like to again add that Interfacing offers a digital twin software solution that documents, analyzes, improves, digitizes, and monitors your business processes. More information on our Enterprise Process Center digital business platform can be found at interfacing.com, or send us an email at sales@interfacing.com. If you wish to contact Adfor directly, you can do so through their website at adfor.it or via email at secretaria@adfor.it. If you do not have EPC yet, you can download your own fully functional free trial of EPC today, or request a live demonstration at interfacing.com. Book a demo. Additionally, we'd love for you to join our interfacing community, where you can complete a free BPMN 2.0 certification and EPC modeler training program, as well as participate in our discussion forums and look through our most common FAQs. So to close out, thank you for attending. And soon after this webinar, you'll receive a brief survey and an email where you can download and share today's presentation. You'll also have our contact information included, so I urge you to reach out if you have any questions regarding your process-based initiatives. With that, I'd like to wish you all a good morning, a good day, or a good evening. Take care, stay safe, and talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.